all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. Amen.
DJ, thank you so much for that beautiful prayer. Now I would like to introduce our first speaker, Lieutenant General J.B. Silveria. Retired United States Air Force Lieutenant General J.B. Silveria began his term as president of the University of Arkansas System on January 15, 2025. Previously, he served as Associate Vice President and Executive Director of Texas A&M University and Bush School of Government and Public School Service in Washington, D.C., and is a former superintendent at the United States Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs.
Colton, stop. That's enough. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to Colton, thank you. I had to stop Colton because it's not about me, today is about you. Thank you for the opportunity. Gentlemen, General Dwight D. Eisenhower was the commander of Operation Overlord for the invasion of Normandy, invading Europe in World War II. That was in June of 1944. He had 1,200 aircraft, 5,000 naval vessels, 160,000 men that invaded France. By August, there were 2 million men that were in Europe, and by April of 45, 8 months later, the war was over in Europe. Obviously, that was a resounding success for General Eisenhower. But here's the story. And it's not about military strategy, it's about leadership. General Eisenhower, 6 days before the invasion, wrote a letter. And the letter is called "In Case of Failure." General Eisenhower anticipated failing days before it happened. And the letter goes something like this. Our landings at Cherbourg Havre failed to establish a satisfactory foothold, and I have withdrawn the troops. I made the decision to attack at this time in this place based on the best information that I had at the time. The troops, the Navy, the air, did all that bravery and devotion to duty could do. But here's the best part of that letter. Think about all of the thousands of things that had to go right for an invasion that size. Think about all of the things that could have gone wrong. And what General Eisenhower did was take full responsibility. This is the last sentence in his letter. If there is any blame or fault attached to the attempt, it is mine alone. General Eisenhower took full responsibility for the outcome, not even knowing what the outcome was going to be. And that's what leaders do. It's wonderful to be here with you. What I'd like to do, can we bring up those slides, please? Uh-oh, this is the part where they're looking for the slides, right? We're going to do this without the slides. I have a picture that shows me stepping to fly an F-35. So I spent 35 years in the Air Force. I was a pilot, and I was a fighter pilot. So what I'm going to talk to you about is being that leader that takes responsibility and teach you how to lead like a fighter pilot. We're going to lead like a fighter pilot, right? So that's three things. It's pretty simple. The first thing is that fighter pilots work. And by that, I mean that we study and that we grind it out, we put in the time, and that we work. You can certainly hear about the fighter pilots. Okay, this is me. I'm the short guy on the left side there, stepping to the airplane. That's an F-35. It's a fifth-generation stealth capabilities. It's being produced right now. It's the latest fighter in the inventory. The Air Force, Navy, and Marines are flying the airplane. And that's me stepping to fly an F-35. And so leading like a fighter pilot, like I said, there's three things about it. First, it's the work that we do. You might see some of the cool sunglasses or maybe some of the nicknames as you see it in the movies. But what you don't see is all the work that you have to put in. That you study, you learn about your own capabilities. You study all your advanced capabilities. You study everything you can about what you might face. You study all of the conditions, all of the locations. You study, and then you study again. You're not studying for a grade. You're not studying to achieve a certain point. You're studying to make yourself better. Then in studying, we spend hours in a simulator, challenging ourselves, pushing ourselves, failing the systems in our aircraft, and learning how to handle that again and again, and then we do it again. So the first thing that a fighter pilot does as a leader is work, is put in the work. The second thing that a fighter pilot does is value the team. Can we go to that next slide, please? So this is an F-15E. I spent most of my flying in this airplane. I went to combat in this airplane, and I have thousands of hours flying it. And in the 1990s, I was part of the war in the Balkans. And I was sent against an air defense missile site to attack the missile site in this type of airplane. There were dozens of airplanes that were also in the air in the same area that were waiting to attack targets. I had to make it safe to attack this missile site. We had had 2 aircraft shot down. Prior to that, we had lost 2 aircraft. So I attacked that missile site. Me, it's a 2-seat airplane, and my backseater, we were successful against that missile site, and those dozens of aircraft came in and attacked their targets. What that doesn't tell you is the story of the entire team. While I attacked that site, there were thousands of people that made that happen. From the ground crew that fixed my airplane, to all of the people that prepared the weapons, to all of the people that prepared every last one of those aircraft, to the intelligence that was gathered, to the command and control, to all those that took care of the airplane. And every last one of those people had to be performing at the highest possible level, in order for me to be successful. So to lead like a fighter pilot, you have to value your team. And the third thing that you do to lead like a fighter pilot is that we train hard. I was a commander of the largest fighter base in the Air Force in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we would have huge air wars that would take place across the state of Nevada, where we'd put large numbers of aircraft in the west, and we'd put large numbers of aircraft in the east, and those aircraft in the east would fight their way west, attack targets against simulated missile sites, electronic jamming, communication jamming, the toughest environment that we could manage to create. And then if those teams started to do well, we made it harder. Because the point was to continue to challenge ourselves and push ourselves to continue to do better and then do it again. So a fighter pilot works, puts in the work, values the team, and trains exceptionally hard. But why are we doing that? Well, that's because we're preparing, right? We're preparing for that moment that we're called on, that we're ready. So I'm the president of the University of Arkansas system. So I represent nearly 100,000 students, 27,000 employees that provide a remarkable service for the state. Everything from agriculture research around the state to our flagship institution at Fayetteville, 8 community colleges, our regional 4-year campuses around the state. And whatever you do next, gentlemen, education in some form will be part of that. How we look at our lives, how we measure, how we consider ourselves, how we consider our lives, education in some form will be part of that. And why is that? It's because if you're preparing, you're taking on lifetime of learning. To make yourself better, to constantly make yourself better. That's what a lifetime of learning means. You're preparing, setting up a lifetime of learning. But why are we doing that? Why are we preparing like a fighter pilot? Why are we leading like a fighter pilot? Why are we taking responsibility as a leader, doing the work, valuing our team, training hard to prepare with a lifetime of learning. Why are we doing that? Well, there's a leader in the 20th century who said it best. It's Winston Churchill, also a World War II leader. A lot of people have said the same thing, but Winston Churchill said it probably best. To every man in his lifetime, there is a time when you are figuratively tapped on the shoulder for a special moment to do a special thing uniquely fit to you and to your talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds you unprepared and unqualified for what could be your finest hour. See, gentlemen, the point is, you don't get to pick that moment. That moment picks you. So here's the question that I want to leave you with. You won't remember any of that, but I want you to remember this. What are you preparing for? Thank you, gentlemen. It's great to see you.
Once again, can we get a thank for the Lieutenant General for being here? I mean, just thank you so much. Now, would we welcome all the senators and representatives up to the stage? Now, as our first speaker, I would like to introduce Senator Tyler Dees to the stage.
Hello, guys. My name's Tyler Dees, and I have the joy to serve in the Arkansas Senate, and I represent Northwest Corner. I represent Benton and Washington County. Anybody from Benton and Washington County here? All right, we got a few. That's great. That's great. Well, it's such a joy to be here. Myself and Representative R.J. Hawk, we have the joy to get to be the chair of the Boys State Committee in the legislature. And before we get started, R.J. and I are going to share a little bit about what's on our heart today and tell a little bit about our story. But before we do that, we want to tell you about this full stage. You're in the presence of about 10% of the entire legislature right here on stage. We've got House and Senate members from all across the state. Some of your representation from your hometown is here. And so we want to let them say hello and tell them where they're from and if they're alum for Boys State as well. And we also have Senator Missy Irvin as well. Let's give her a hand as she comes up to the stage.
It's great to be here with you today. I'm State Representative Brian Evans, District 68 from Cabot. I got some Cabot folks here, I think, somewhere, maybe right there. Adam, there he is. Yeah. Great to be here with each of you. I had the privilege in the summer of 1985 to wear the mighty orange shirt. So, Men of Orange, yeah. It's great to see that tradition carrying on. But I also serve as Speaker of the House, and I serve on the Judiciary Committee as well as the State Agencies Committee. It's great to be here with you today. We've got a lot of great folks here that represent the legislature, and they're looking forward to being a great part of your day.
Thank you. Good to see you, everybody. Good morning. How are you guys? Good morning. Are you excited to be here? Come on now. So I'm a proud alum of Girls State, and so I'm glad that you're here. Congratulations on being here. Good for you stepping up and being a part of this. I know it's hard to give away your Memorial Day weekend. My sons came through Boys State. My girls came through Girls State. But stepping up and being here and exemplifying leadership is really, really going to be important, not just today, not for right now, but for the rest of your life. So decide what your purpose is, decide who you're going to be, and always love your mama. Okay. So I'm Senator Missy Thomas Ervin. I represent District 24, which is all of Stone County, all of Searcy County, yes, a little bit of Newton County, just north of Jasper, God's country up there, Buffalo River, all of Van Buren County. Anybody here from Van Buren County? Yeah. And then I have Faulkner County. Any Faulkner County folks here? All right, so glad to be with you guys. I've been in the Senate since 2010. I'm the old one up here, actually. Been there the longest in the Senate, except for Senator Dismay. Is he with us? No. But anyway, so just grateful to be here, and thank you so much for letting us speak to you today, and we're happy just to answer all your questions. But I really want to thank Senator Dees, R.J. Hawk, good buddies of mine. It's great to be here. God bless you guys.
Good morning, Boys State. My name is Frederick Love. I have the pleasure of serving you in the Arkansas State Senate. Before I get started, let me ask, where's my nephew Nehemiah? Is Nehemiah's not here? Oh, okay. Stand up, Nehemiah. All right, thank y'all for showing them some love. So I have the pleasure of serving. Now, who lives in Pulaski County? Who lives in Little Rock? Who lives in Pulaski? So I've served in the House. I served in the House for 12 years, and then I'm now serving in the Senate. And this is my first and my final term. I serve a 4-year term. Fellas, this is an important time for you all. Leadership is important. And as you go through life, you're going to have to be the leaders that we need you to be. We want to pass off something to you all, and we all want you to receive it. But it starts with leadership. And so throughout this time, you were going to break into groups, and throughout this time, make sure that you are ensuring that you're being a leader, because that's what we need for the future. So once again, my name is Frederick Love. I have the pleasure of serving you in the Arkansas State Senate, and I look forward to speaking with you all.
Hey guys, how you doing this morning? All right. It's an honor for you guys to be here. You'll see that as time goes on in your life. I'm Johnny Rye. I'm representative from Northeast Arkansas, Poinsett, and Craighead County, which is. Guys, I'm not going to stay up here long because there's a lot of folks to talk to you, but I do want to tell you this much that will remind you of something as you get a little bit older. back in 1973, I came down here when it was the old barracks. And I met a guy that weighed about 140 pounds, and they told me that his name was Mike Huckabee. Okay? So you never, ever know in time going by that you're going to actually need what you're doing now. You'll be leaders, and you already are. But take it in, y'all. It's very, very serious stuff, and it'll affect you the rest of your life. And thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, y'all. I'm Clark Tucker, like Senator Love, also from Little Rock and Pulaski County. I'm a 98 delegate to Boise State. Was in the light blue county back here. I was a delegate from Little Rock Central. We got any delegates from Little Rock Central here today? All right, Tiger Pride. Congratulations to y'all for being here. This is such a great opportunity. I love coming here every year. Y'all are not finished products, right? And you know who else is not a finished product? Everybody on the stage. And my opinion is, the day we stop learning and improving is the day we should head to the house. But y'all really have a great opportunity to learn and improve this week, and I'm excited to be here to be with y'all as part of it. Thank y'all.
Hi, everybody. My name is Britt McKenzie. I have the distinct honor and privilege of representing Eastern Benton County. Anyone from Rogers Heritage here? Got one hand. There we are. I attended Boise State in the summer of 2008, and I was a part of the Governor's County, which I think has changed colors now, but very good. In my mind, the first step of leadership is availability. So you guys are making that first step. You're making yourself available to be the representatives from your high schools and from your communities. Amongst you in this room will be future leaders. So take what you get this week, digest it the best you can, and go apply it at home. So thank you very much.
Hey y'all, I'm Wade Andrews, State Rep District 98. I cover South Arkansas. I think Brother Barnes, but only ones from South Arkansas. Camden, Magnolia, Louisville, Ouachita County, Columbia County, Lafayette County, Nevada County. So I came here in Boise State. I was a delegate here in 2013. Actually, Missy Irvin's son and I was here at Boise State together. Great time. It was a fun time. This is a week y'all are going to remember the rest of your lives. Network, make friends, because 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you might call someone and say, hey, you're in Boise State too. Help me with this business opportunity. Help me with this network opportunity. Help me with this political opportunity. And I wore the green shirt back there. I think y'all are the loudest and best applause so far. There we go. But it's glad to be here. Find me afterwards. We can talk.
Hey everybody, I'm State Representative Aaron Pilkington. Anyone from Johnson or Pope County? There we go, all right. Clarksville, Jewel of the River Valley, baby. Anyways, glad to be here. I did Boise State when I was younger. It was a great experience. I loved it. Like everyone else said, this is a great opportunity to be here and to learn and to do this. And so I know some of you may wonder, why does politics matter? Why is it important? The reality is because it affects so much of your life that you don't even know. There's bills that got passed this year that are going to affect your life, affect your employment, affect the home you can buy or sell or what you can do, and you didn't even know went on. And so if you want to be in charge of your own life, you want to take control, if you don't want to be someone who just lets the world happen to him but actually makes the world bend to your will, you've got to get involved, and you've got to be involved in politics. So with that, I just pass the mic and say I'm glad to be here. Looks like we've got a bright future in Arkansas. It's the best state in the nation, and so thank you for letting me be here today.
My name is Paul Childress. I'm a state rep from District 83, which is Saline County. So I represent I have Benton students, Bryant students, Fountain Lake students, Glen Rose students, and Harmony Grove students. So I know y'all are here. Mainly my district is Benton, but Representative Hawk is mainly Bryan. So y'all know what happens when Salt Bowl time comes. Me and him are into it, teasing each other during football, but he's been on the winning side for several years, so it's our time this year. But anyway, it's an honor. I'm a brand new freshman legislator. I've been on the job about 6 months, and I learn a lot from these guys here behind me. I'm just learning the ropes. So anyway, it's an honor to be here with you, and thank you for participating in Boys State.
Good morning. Good to see everybody here this morning. My name is Kim Hammer. If you have trouble remembering my name, just think of Claude, Jack, one of those hammers, and you'll remember my name. I represent Saline County, West Pulaski County. So all you from Saline County, West Pulaski County, appreciate you being here. Appreciate the fact that you have made it to where you are. But let me give you this word of encouragement. Don't stop where you are. Set your goals higher. Make sure that you have a desire to be one of the ones sitting up on this stage one day, because we need young leaders coming up to be leaders that want to take the helm and to be able to take this state and continue it in the positive direction that it's going. Just to have one question, who's the Secretary of State? Is he in here? Who got elected Secretary of State? You raise your hand. Would you stand up? All right. I'm running for Secretary of State. If you can get the votes that you got in here today, I need to talk to you afterwards, okay? Thank you all for being here, and remember this, and I'll leave it with you. Grow up to be the men that we need to be in America and Arkansas today. And when you become a father, make sure that you become the father that we can all be proud of, because we need you to be the fathers, we need you to be the dads, and we need you to be the male role models that we need desperately in the state. So I want to say thank you for being here today. You encourage us, and we hope that we encourage you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Representative Wayne Long, House District 39, which covers parts of White, Jackson, and Independence counties. I serve on the State Agencies Committee and Public Health Committee, and I'm proud to be a delegate to Boys State back in 1979. I hope you all have a great time.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Alan Clark. I'm State Senator District 7. I represent Grant County, Hot Spring County, Garland County, and Saline County. I went to school at Lakeside and Cutter Morning Star. I think we heard a little bit about Lakeside. Isn't the president from Lakeside? Isn't that what I heard? Maybe not. My wife, beautiful wife, Jana, went to Girl State. My daughter went to Girl State. My son went to Boys State. I'm the only one in the family that only gets to go to Boys State because I'm a state senator. But I want to tell you something. A lot of you have run for office successfully. Some of you have run unsuccessfully. A lot of you have helped in campaigns and done some other things. Keep in mind, I never made it to Boys State. But if you have neighbors and you have friends and people who think that you can make a difference, and you get up one day and decide that you want to make a difference and you think that you would like to do it, I am the example of everybody here that anybody can get elected to the Arkansas State Senate if your neighbors believe in you and you work hard. So remember that however you did here doesn't matter. On out in life, God's got a calling for you, and whatever it is, do that. But if it happens to be the legislature, don't be afraid. Get out there and do it. Thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone. How you all doing? All right, then. My name is Glenn Barnes. I am from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Hey, amen. No, it's like at least 7 of you all from Pine Bluff High here. Scream at me. All right, then. I want to thank you all, first of all, for being here and for your positive decisions that you've been making that's got you here. I want to encourage you to continue to make good decisions. I'm first term in the House. good experience. Some of you all will one day be there to help carry on this legacy and get your name in history. But remember, Arkansas is a great place, and it's a great place because people have worked hard, and one day you will inherit what others have done. Again, I'm 65th District, Jefferson County. Grateful to be here with you all. Good to see so many various faces here today. And we just encourage you all to continue to work hard. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I want to first start off by introducing myself. I'm Jesse Magruder. I'm out of Crittenden County, State Representative, District 35. Secondly, I want to recognize a very important individual in here, my son, Elijah Magruder. I've been blessed to have 3 sons, and all 3 of them have been to Boys State. Now I would like for everyone to stand, please. See all the different colors. It looks amazing. You all may be seated. Thank you so much. I asked you to do that exercise because I usually receive a phone call, but I can talk to the Speaker of the House right now. I'm the only individual that had everybody standing up when I got up to speak, so that's very impressive to everybody. But I want to encourage you to stay involved, be civically engaged. This is just the start of your careers politically. We need people to run from school board, state representative to governor. Make sure you're involved, make sure you're engaged, make sure you have an understanding of the political process. This is an honor to be here. It's not just an opportunity that you're given, it's an honor. I was never blessed to serve as on Boys State, but I got elected as state representative, which I represent anybody who's in Crittenden County. That's Marion, West Memphis, Earl, Turl, so all those individuals. And I even got the joy of bringing Mr. Johnson here today also on Sunday. So I'm here to represent everybody from Crittenden County. I thank you all for being here. Keep being great in communities, and we're going to keep doing the best job we possibly can in the legislature.
Well, thank you for letting us introduce ourselves real fast. Again, my name is Tyler Dees, and I serve in the Arkansas Senate, Western Benton County and Washington County. And, yep, there we go. I'm also a 2003 alumni of Boys State, in which I was on this stage giving my resounding speech when I was running for governor. And I lost. Okay, I got second. So in the book, you won't see my name, but you will see my best friend's name, who also came from Silent Springs High School, because he ran for lieutenant governor, and he won, and I didn't. So that made it awkward driving home because I was a little upset at him that he won and I didn't. But we got to cheer each other on. So many great memories. It was such a blast. But Representative Hawk and I, we're gonna share a little bit about our story, about our life, and hopefully some encouragement. But I want to start with a story. Some of y'all know Steve Jobs, founder of Apple. Has anybody heard of him? He's passed away, but he's got a very interesting story. You know, one of those crazy geniuses. He was telling his story a year after I was on this stage. He was at the Stanford commencement speech, giving a speech to the graduates of Stanford, and he told this story about how he was a college dropout. He dropped out of school because he didn't like that you had to go through the certain programs and the degree program. He had to take classes he didn't want to take. But something unique happened. He went back to campus. After dropping out, he still had an eagerness and a desire to learn and to better himself, just like some of the comments you heard today. He went back to campus and he just started going to classes. He would sneak into the back of these large classes, and he would just consume the knowledge of the classes that he enjoyed. In fact, one day he saw posters and announcements on campus that were hand-drawn, and they were very beautifully done. And at the bottom it said it was completed by the calligraphy class students. And he thought, you know what? I want to go learn about calligraphy. I want to learn it. So he goes and he starts attending the calligraphy classes, and he learns about fonts and styles and sans serif and serif and the typography, and he just enjoyed it. He didn't do any of the homework. He just went to the class. Well, fast forward 10 years later, He's sitting in his garage with his best friend, and they found Apple computers. He makes the first Macintosh PC. And as they're developing it, the software, they realize we're going to have a typography for the software, for the system. And he said, I got it. We need to use some of the things I learned 10 years ago in that calligraphy class. And he joked that he said, when I attended that class, there was zero hope that this would ever have any practical application to my life. But then fast forward 10 years later, and he's drawing back on the memory of what he learned in that class, just based off a desire and off a passion. And the point is, you never know what God's going to put in front of your life, one step at a time, one desire at a time, one pursuit at a time, and how he might use it years down the road later. And he laughs because Microsoft steals all his technology and builds Microsoft Word and all the apps and texting and emojis we have today were basically from his work back then. And so it's interesting, and I view that in my own life the same way. Politics was never on my radar. I've been serving for 3 years, but I can tell you 10 years ago, I'd never had any desires to be into politics or run for office. We were just serving and working in our community, coaching youth teams. I've coached 27 youth teams in the last 10 years. That's basketball, football, soccer. And so then through journeys and connections and networks, people have said, why don't you think about politics? We're like, we're good. No thanks. But through those connections, we started praying about it. We said, okay, I guess we'll take a step. And I view that, if anybody knows anything about mosaic art is, the definition is really bits and pieces of materials and shapes and sizes of different styles, almost look like it's randomly thrown onto a canvas. But as you zoom out, you start to see how it all has a cohesive design and actually makes something beautiful. But maybe zoomed in, looking at one segment, it doesn't make sense. That may be a part of your journey. That was Steve Jobs. I'm going to take a random calligraphy class. But zooms out, he sees how he's using it. It's making this beautiful, cohesive design. I promise that may be a part of your story where you're getting ready to come up to the age-old question of what's next. You're getting ready to go into your senior year, right? Is everybody in here a junior? Is that correct? Right? You were handpicked as leaders in your community, in your school, as you enter into your senior year. And you're going to be filled with a question at church and the community and your sports teams with your parents and grandparents. They're going to say, hey, what's next? What do you want to be? Where do you want to go to school? What do you want to do? And a lot of the times that can be intimidating a little bit because you may not know the answer, and that's okay. Mark Twain has a famous quote. He says, the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And you may not have found out why yet. You don't have your passion, your purpose, your driven mission statement. You're in the normalcy if you don't have it all outlined and planned. That's okay. I want to encourage you with that. But I also want to encourage you to take that next step, the next right step, the next pursuit of passion, of joy, of excellence. Take the next step knowing that you don't know what the next 20 steps look like. You're actually in the right spot when you're doing that. Lean into that unknown. In fact, when you look at those times in your life when you're kind of unknown, but you're just taking that next step, there's going to be struggle, guaranteed. There's going to be more unknowns, guaranteed. And I love the example of the butterfly, right? Caterpillar comes along, he goes into the cocoon phase, metamorphosis happens, chrysalis happens for you science majors and focus guys. Chrysalis process happens in the cocoon, and the pre-butterfly has to struggle. It has to develop and grow, and it has to break free through the cocoon. And in that process, the science is this, that the struggle and the breaking through of the cocoon creates the strength for the wings to be able to fly. And in fact, if you go and help that cocoon, if you go and help that butterfly and cut it open, the butterfly will die. It will never develop fully. If you take away the struggle, it won't be strong enough to fly. There's something kind of beautiful in that, isn't there? You have to go through the unknown. You have to go through the struggle. And I'm confident that's why God does it. He allows us to grow through some unknown. Scripture says in Psalm 119 that his word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And if you look at the breakdown of a lamp, that's not a big spotlight. You get a piece. You get one step of light. You don't get 20 steps, do you, in a lamp? It's limited light. And so there's a faith in that, right? There's a stepping out into the unknown. That's leadership. Leaders go first into the unknown. And so that's my encouragement to you guys today. It's okay if you don't know what the rest of your life is going to look like. Still move forward boldly. Move forward to the unknown, knowing there's going to be struggle. Embrace the struggle, knowing it's strengthening your wings. It's a little corny, but it's the truth. That grit and that grind is what's going to develop you. I promise you there's stories about that same setup with everybody on this stage. When we enter campaigns, they're hard. When we enter stuff, we are, in the state of Arkansas, you are not a full-time legislator. You also have real jobs out in the world. I've got 3 kids with my wife. I miss ball games. I miss practices. We miss things back at home because we want to sacrifice for this state, for our next generation, for our kids, the next generation. And the last thing I want to leave you with this is it's from a book called The Power of the Other. And this is by Henry Cloud, and he tells a story about Navy SEALs. Has anybody ever heard about Navy SEALs? They're like the elite of the elite of the elite warriors, right? Well, in this story, he talks about how to be a Navy SEAL, you have to go through the hardest of trainings. Now, first, you're already selected. They bring about 2,000 in of the most talented and best leaders in the country already. And then they beat you up. And they see if you can hang. They take you through the worst of the worst trainings. They take it from thousands down to hundreds, down to dozens, and they get down to the last few dozen. And they take them through what's called Hell Week. Has anybody ever heard of this? Hell Week. And the last training, the last thing they do is they take them to San Diego into a helicopter, and it's a buddy system. Two members, 2 friends, with all their gear, they drop them from a helicopter into the ocean, and they say, make it back to shore. Good luck. And if you make it back to shore, you're a Navy SEAL. You've graduated the program. You get to ring the bell. Well, in this book, he tells about a story where Mark and Bryce are in their final journey, and you have to make it back as a pair. Mark makes it back to shore, exhausted, and he looks back to Bryce, and Bryce is struggling. Remember, they've been through weeks of hell. Bryce is struggling. And Bryce explains that his body just shut off. His body was cramping, cold water, carrying all the weight. And he made eye contact with Mark back at shore. And Mark knew something was wrong. Bryce is not going to make it. Like, he may die, he may drown. Not just make it, but he may drown. And Mark gets up off the sand, looks at his eyes, and screams, "Let's go!" And how Bryce describes it is that his body responds. It shot out of the water. I don't know how to explain it, Bryce says, but my body responded to him yelling at me. And he makes it back to shore. They embrace. He's cheering him on. And he said, and he just collapsed. His body wouldn't work anymore. But for those 30 seconds, he made it back to shore. And here's the point. The power of the other is unpacking that. What is that? The intangible, invisible encouragement that we can give to each other creates something that's pretty powerful. And I tell you that story to tell you this: nothing great is done alone. None of us are here by ourselves. When we're taking those steps into the unknown and figuring out and trying to lead forward, we don't do it by ourselves. There's something powerful, how we were designed, how God made us to be relational. Don't try to do it in isolation. You have to have a network of relationship. You are a direct result of the people you hang around with. Whether you're successful or not is highly correlated to the type of people you hang around with. And so please pursue excellence with your networks, with the people you hang around with, and your mentors that you reach out to, the mentors that you choose to be. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Keep your eyes fixed on the author and perfecter of your faith. Boldly step forward. Don't do it alone. Do it with the folks that you want to be someday. I know that's what helped all of us. I pray for your journey, that you keep doing that boldly. We need bold leadership, period. That's what you represent for this state. You may have thought this was a fun weekend, but that's what you're representing in the future. Bold leadership in multiple areas of industry, of politics, of fatherhood. That's what you represent, and we need you. So God bless your journey. Thanks for letting us be here today.
Yeah, stand up. Stand up. Give them a round of applause. Okay, now you can sit down. Nobody needs to give a senator that much applause. Especially, I can't follow that. We were supposed to go 10 minutes. I think he did 25. No, honestly, Tyler's one of my buddies. I'm RJ Hawk. I represent Saline County. I heard a whole bunch of Saline County folks yell, and I told the speaker just a minute ago, because he lives in Cabot. They don't ever win football games. So I said, if you're from Saline County, I need you to yell really loud right now, just for one time. Told you they'd be louder in Cabot. My name's RJ Hawk. I've got District 81, which is pretty much all of Bryant. If you know anything about Bryant, we win a lot of football games, don't we? We win a lot of football games. We win a lot of state championships. I didn't come to talk about that, though, today, because really what I wanted to talk to you guys about, much like Tyler, was my journey. You know, I was a guy that I moved to Arkansas in 2004 from the state of Texas. I actually went to the University of Central Arkansas, and so I'm very fond of the purple. And I see the group in the back, the guys in purple. They haven't said much today, so I need you guys. Thank you. I say that to say I grew up in a very poor family in Texas, in East Texas, a little town called Athens. And my dad wasn't around very much. My mom, we had a single-family mom that she worked 2 jobs. I had 2 sisters and myself, and it was one of those things that if we wanted something, we didn't get to go every school year and get a brand new pair of sneakers or a new dress, pants and shirts for school. We didn't get to do that. We usually went every couple years to get some new supplies and things of that nature. And so one thing Mom always told me was, she said, RJ, she goes, I don't care what you do in life, nobody can ever take away your work ethic. She said, you can be a janitor, you can be a CEO, but no matter how hard you work, that's going to be your legacy. My mom's my best friend. I talk to this day, I'm almost 40 years old, and to this day, I call my mom every single day. Some of you may go, well, he's a mama's boy. Why would you call your mom every day? But I get most of my best advice about life, about the journey that I've been on from my mom, right? And so when I moved up here in 2004 to play baseball at the University of Central Arkansas, I had never been to Arkansas in my life. I take that back. I'd been to Texarkana, but I don't really count that as Arkansas. But I'd never really been into the state, and so I got asked to come to UCA. And in fact, whenever we got asked to come, I went home to Mom and I said, hey, look, I got a baseball scholarship from Arkansas. And she's like, the Razorbacks? I said, I think so. I don't know. So we get home and we look through the pamphlet, and she goes, I thought the Razorbacks were red and white. I said, I know, but this is purple and white. Let's go with it. It sounds cool. We came up here. Of course, it wasn't the Razorbacks. It was the Bears. But Mom immediately said nobody in our family had ever gotten a college education. Nobody. My dad, my sisters at the time, didn't have any aunts or uncles. Mom said, look, you've got an opportunity to go to Arkansas and do something that nobody in your family's ever been able to do. She said, you like sports, so if it doesn't work out, maybe you're a broadcaster, or maybe you're a coach or something like that. She goes, just try it. Don't say no. I said, okay. Because at the time, my best friend and I, we were planning on leaving high school, and we were going to go be police officers in the Dallas Police Department, right? That was our goal. But we had one caveat that said if either one of us got a scholarship, we were going to deviate from that plan and go to college. Well, I got the scholarship. He went on to Dallas, and I came to Arkansas. From that point, I didn't even play 5 games because I tore my ACL. I never played baseball again. I immediately called my mom, and I said, not going to work out. I'm coming back home. And she says, no, you're not. I said, you're not coming home. She said, you've got something now that nobody in our family's ever had a chance to do. She goes, you're going to stick it out for the full year. Meet as many people as you can meet. Make as many connections as you can make. And just see where it goes. So I got involved in broadcasting and made a lot of connections that way. And long story short, I finally graduated. I was the very first person in my family to get a college education right here from the University of Central Arkansas. The best thing about that story, though, without me knowing, 1 week later, my mom got her college education from the University of Texas at Tyler. And I say all that to say, you've got to have a drive. You've got to have somebody that you're willing to bounce ideas off of it. Whether it's your friend, whether it's your mom, whether it's your dad, whether it's somebody in your life that you trust, you've got to have somebody that you can bounce ideas, whether they're good or bad. My mom, I told you about how great she is to me, but since I've moved to Arkansas, I've made connections. I was never a political guy. Much like Tyler, I was never a political guy. I didn't really get into politics until about 2015, right? All I cared about were how the Razorbacks, the Longhorns, or the Texas Rangers were doing. Or the Dallas Cowboys. That's all I cared about, right? And then one day, and I see him in the back of the room, a mentor of mine, Shane Broadway, who is in Saline County. He came to me and he said, hey, I really think you should run for city council. At the time, I was a radio guy. I don't know, how many people have heard of 103.7 The Buzz, the radio station? Yeah, I spent 14 years doing the morning radio show on 103.7 The Buzz. And at the time, I was involved in a lot of charities. I never said no because I didn't have a lot of money. As a radio guy, I was making $32,000 a year. But I was enjoying what I was doing, right? And so one day, Shane had seen all the community work that I was involved with, and he goes, why don't you think about running for city council? I was like, no, not at all. And we talked a little bit more about it. And then he said, I think that if you run for this, you may not have an opponent, and you can go in. Shane, I don't know anything about this. He said, I'll help you. Well, Shane was right. And I called my mom. I said, what? I said, I'm going to do this. She goes, are you crazy? And I said, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. So I did it. I won. Didn't have an opponent. We did it for 4 years. Well, fast forward 4 years after that, I've moved up at the radio station. I'm on the city council. I'm involved with charities. And I get a phone call from a buddy of mine. He goes, I think you should run for the state legislature. I said, yeah, no, that's a different ballgame. Like city stuff, you don't really campaign a whole lot. That's like people get mad at each other. And so I called Shane. And I said, Shane, Andy Davis is leaving. From what I understand, he's going to retire. I think I should run. And he goes, it's a little bit different. You know, are you sure you want to do that? And we talked it out, and Shane talked me in. We did it. Well, so I run, and there was a legislator who we now have named Keith Brooks. I ran hard. I put 7,000 miles on my truck. I'm all in. The work ethic that we talked about, right? Do everything to your capacity. I ended up losing by 27 votes that election. 27. I heard somebody say when I came in, why does politics matter? Why do I need to get involved? 27 votes were the determining factor between me and Keith Brooks getting in to the Arkansas legislature. From that point, I lost. I said, I've been playing sports. Toughest L I've ever taken in my life. I said, I ain't ever doing this again. I'm going to go back to just being radio RJ. I'm going to do this. And fast forward a couple years, they redistrict, and they create a new district for Bryant, which is District 81. I'll never forget, I called Shane, but the second person I called was Missy Irvin. And Missy actually had come on the radio quite a bit, and we had made a good bond. And I said, Missy, I think I'm going to do this. And she goes, I think you'd be great. And I said, but, I don't want to lose again. And I had Missy and other people that told me, they said, you can't fear failure. Can't fear failure. If you're going to be successful, You've got to be willing to take a chance. You've got to be willing to put yourself out there no matter what you do, whether it's politics, whether it's business, whether it's life. And so I said, you know what? I called my wife. I said, I think we're going to do this again. My wife said, well, you're crazy. We ran. I won. I tell you all this to say, guys, going back to your work ethic, I don't care what you do, whether you get up here and be a legislator, whether you want to be a business owner, or if you just want to work for a company. Give it your all. Give everything you've got to no matter what you do in life. If you do that, I promise you, every single person in this room, I don't care what you do, you will be successful. If you give 110% every single day at the job or the task or the function that you do in life, you will be successful. Now, will you fail? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't fail in life, you're not doing something right? Nobody wins 100% of the time. I was on the way up here today, I was looking. Who knows what the American dream is? Raise your hand. Who's heard of the American dream? I do this speech quite a bit, and I was pretty astounded that right now there was a poll that was done that 36% of Americans still believe in the American dream. That was a national poll that was done. 36% of Americans believe in the American dream. Well, what that tells me is there's a lot of people that don't believe in themselves, right? There's a lot of people that right now, you guys are in this room, you have goals, whether you want to go to college. I know that social media branding is now a thing. It wasn't whenever I was in school. But you want to create your brand, right? I hear that a lot. But if you don't work now, if you don't work to what the future looks like, you're never going to have the American dream. You're going to just go through life, and you're just going to, okay, well, I'm going to wake up again today. I may post something on Facebook. You don't have a drive. The American dream is real. It's very much real. As I started with this conversation, I grew up a poor kid. We didn't have anything. And I'm not saying that I'm well off now, but I'm a lot better off now than what I was when I was in Athens, Texas. It's because of the drive. It's because I get up every morning with a purpose, with a goal, and with a drive. And it's that work ethic that I want everybody in this room to take with them when they leave here. Just remember, if you have a good work ethic, that's going to take you through life. I appreciate the time. Okay, I'm going to bring out Craig now, right? Or who we can bring out? Okay, the governor. Governor, how are you, sir?
Doing good.
Okay, he's going to tell you what to do next.
All right. Boy State, I would just, first, can we give a round of applause for all of our senators and representatives that are up here? Now I would like to introduce a special guest to the stage. We have Senator Tom Cotton to give a few words to y'all. He's coming, y'all. Woo!
Well, hello, everyone. How's Boys State this year? And how have these great state legislators been for you for the last hour? Good. Well, I know this is an unexpected addition to the program, but whenever I'm home, as I got a chance to be this week since the Senate's out of session and Boys State's in session, I always love to come by and greet all of you and commend you for giving up this week of your summer when you could be doing lots of other things to be here representing your communities, serving our state, and preparing to be a leader for the future. I was at Boys State myself back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, but you don't want to know how long ago it was that my father was at Boys State, which is the namesake of Cotton County. And what an impact it made on my life and on his life and so many other alumni of Boys State, like the senator with whom I serve, John Bozeman, or Mike Huckabee, who was our governor and is now our ambassador to Israel. And I think as you go through this week, and especially as you reflect on this week, after you leave and go back home, you realize that you've made friends here that you're going to have for the rest of your life. And you're going to cross paths with them on the athletic fields, maybe in college, maybe in the workforce, and maybe one day in politics and government as well. So I encourage you all, if you haven't already, to dive in deep, be engaged as much as you can. Maybe that means running as a candidate. Maybe that means helping your buddy. Maybe that means being active in some of the other programs they have here at Boys State, because you'll get as much out of this week as you put into it. And I think in retrospect, you'll realize that it really might be a defining moment for you and for a lot of the friends you make here. So thank you all for letting me come and address you. It's always great to be back with my fellow Boys Staters and finish up strong and have a great week and enjoy the rest of your summer. Thank you all.
So much, Senator Cotton. We know you have a busy schedule, and we really appreciate you coming out here to talk to us. Can we get one more round of applause for him? Now, Boys State, listen very closely for our next directions. If you are a House member or a senator for Boys State, you will stay in Old Main. If you are not, you are now dismissed to lunch. Can we get everyone who is not a House of Representative member or a senator to go to lunch in an orderly fashion? In Cotton County, everyone in Cotton County stay. Sorry.